What's up, everybody? Yeah, I gotta apologize. I dropped the ball on Lumen. Lumen, it's up 1,000% since July, and it was totally off my radar. You guys got to help me with stuff like this. I don't know if somebody would have mentioned it to me. I don't know if I would have invested in them, but I totally. I've been doing videos on Lumen for a while. I must have done like 3 or 4, and I don't remember the last video I did. They were probably around $5-6, and I was tracking them as they were going down. And I'll show you why. I'll show you why it's up 1,000% just since July. So July was about $1 a share. I mean, I'm doing a thumbnail now for this video. I forgot to do it before I started the video. What's a good thumbnail? I wrote icon. I'm looking for like something in the moon. That's a good moon, right? No, that's not good. You know, I could have bought the stock and made a ton of money. But the reason that the stock is up is all these partnerships they're forming. Lumen stock. They have partnerships with Amazon. Amazon Web Services, Meta. Meta is going to use their fiber for like 1 billion Meta customers. And there's another really big company. I think they Lumen stock to the moon. Yeah. Have you guys followed Lumen? Lumen was providing telephone services to many people, like in the 80s and 90s. It was mostly commercial, like small and medium-sized businesses was their sweet spot. So they provided a lot of the internet connection to those small and medium-sized businesses, and they were paying like a 5%, 6%, 7% dividend yield for a long time. And then the stock really started crashing. So this is the stock. I guess it started trading in 1990. They used to be called CenturyLink. And you could see it got up to, in 1999, it was almost $50 a share. But it came down, like most stocks, up and down, up and down. But even as early as, so 2014, it was over 40. So even 10 years ago, it was still trading at a pretty high level, over 40. And then it kind of had its mass decline. It came down in 2015, 2016, it kept coming down. It seemed like it was starting to stabilize in 2019 at like $15. And so it was around $15 at the end of 2019. And then it stayed in that range between 10 and 15 up till 2022. And then it just fell off a cliff. It fell to $1 because they had a lot of customers. I'll try to show you a visual. They had like millions of customers. So even though like they were losing like 5% of their customers a year, they were still bringing in billions and billions of revenue. So they had a lot of cash flow. They were really profitable because when a company like this builds out their infrastructure in order to provide telephone services to customers, It's the upfront is expensive. It's but once you get it built, then you just charge customers, and it's like an annuity. You just charge them month after month. Let's see if this chart goes back. It only goes back to 2014. So you can see their revenue back in 2013 was 18 billion. It actually came up, and I'm kind of surprised about that. It came to 23 billion in 2018. Maybe prices got more, but ever since 2018, you can see its revenue has been coming down. Now it's down to 13 billion because they have a lot of old technology, and people want faster service, faster internet, faster phone. So they're going to companies that are using the more advanced technology, and this company has had older technology. But they've been switching over. They've been trying to get into fiber, which I guess is the future. And they have a new CEO, Kate Johnson. She's really trying to bring them into the 21st century, so to speak. So they have a whole transformation. They're getting into AI. They talk about it in their press release. 3 phases of the AI story. I want to show you some numbers. Okay, so third quarter revenue of 3.2 billion. That's just for one quarter. It's a pretty good amount of revenue if you look at their market cap. I mean, their market cap is 9 billion. So a third of their revenue just in one quarter. But you can see the year-over-year change when you compare it to the third quarter of 2023. It's down in every category. They're down 11%. Total revenue is down 11%. The large enterprise, companies with like several hundred employees, that's down. That's their biggest revenue generator. They have mid-market, 471 million. Then they have public sector, like governments, and that's 427 million. So it's down in every single category. Let me show you the yield. So they were paying a huge dividend. Even back in 2014, a 5.5% dividend yield, that's a pretty good return, right? And then it got up to 13% because the stock price came down. But even when it got to 13%, this is pre-COVID, 2018. And they did cut their dividend, but it's still in 2019 it was 7%, which is still a great dividend. So it went from 14 to 7, then it went back up to double digits again. So from 2017 until 2022, so for 5 straight years, you could have gotten between a 7 and 14% dividend, which is huge. That's a big dividend, right? Because most people are happy with a 10% return in a year, whether their stock portfolio goes up 10% or they get a dividend of 6-7% plus 3-4% on their portfolio. So most people are happy with the 10%. But if you're getting it just in the dividend alone, it's not many companies can do that for 5 straight years. Of course, they did cut their dividend, so they don't pay a dividend anymore since 2022 because they were running into a cash crunch, so to speak. But I'll show you. This is the real reason it went up, and I wish I followed it closer. It was totally off my radar for a few months now. I was following it for I did a video in 2020, I think 2021. But this is simply Wall Street. I don't use this feature much, but this is actually nice. It's so this is the stock chart. This is since 2020. But below it, these circles, you can click on it and it gives you an indication why the stock may have gone up. Because obviously in July, it went from $1 to almost well, in July, it went from 1 to 3. Then in August, it went from 3 to 6. So I'm sure a lot of people got it then. And then it didn't really move much in August, September, or October. And then it went from 6 to 10 just in November, just in like 2-3 weeks. So yeah, click on these circles and you can find out why. Lumen partners with Google. They're partnering Google Cloud. So they're still, their revenue is still going down. Everything's going down, but they have all these partnerships now. So I think investors feel it's going to be real big in the future. So they partner with Google Cloud. I mean, it's a pretty big deal. Just that alone. Not many companies have the opportunity to partner with Google Cloud. Let's click on this other one. They partner with Amazon Web Services. So the two biggest cloud companies in the world, within 2 weeks, they partner with. So we thought Lumen's technology was old, outdated. Hey, Steven, what's up? Australia. Well, Australia, what time is it in Australia? I always get interested when... I think it's actually might be close to my time. No, it's 5 hours. You're Sunday. So, because where I live, I'm in Northern California. I'm kind of almost the last place on earth to celebrate New Year's. Like if you're in Australia, it's already Sunday. I'm still on Saturday. It's early Saturday. It's around noon on Saturday. Okay. So they partner with Amazon Web Services. Let's see what it says. Lumen and Amazon Web Services entered an agreement to strengthen data center connectivity and optimize network delivery of cloud technologies for hundreds of millions of customers. Who thought? I thought their technology was old and outdated. And that's why I was thinking to myself, and I even said it in videos, like, probably avoid the stock. It's going to keep going down. Boy, was I off. Another big story, they partner with Meta. So within 1 month, they have a partnership with AWS, Google, and Meta. That's crazy. It's crazy to think about that, right? Lumen and Meta are partnering to significantly increase Meta's network capacity and help drive its AI ambitions. Neil from New Zealand. I want to visit Australia and New Zealand. I've never been there before. My wife, she went to the Great Barrier Reef and visited, I think that was her favorite trip. The expanded network will provide dedicated interconnection for Meta's infrastructure, strengthening and increasing the company's ability to lead in AI development. The increase in capability is another differentiator that will fuel Meta's vision to advance AI for a more connected world. With the growing interest in AI, preparing for the future means investing in a reliable network. So this is a reliable network. So it seems like it's a screaming buy. Lumen is a screaming buy. It was for, I think it started in 1930, the company, as CenturyLink. Let me see if it used to be called CenturyLink. They changed it to Lumen, I think, in 2019 or 2020. Yeah, it was founded in 1930. So 94 years ago. Things were a lot different 94 years ago. There was no computers. I mean, even phones were kind of in their infancy. I mean, in 1930, I bet you not even half of America had phones in their home. And I think that's the only stock that's in Louisiana that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's others, but of the publicly traded companies, are there any publicly traded companies that are headquartered in Louisiana? This is the only one that I know of that I've ever done a video on. So there was a lot of negativity with Century. So in the 20th century, this consisted of buying and selling telecom providers. CenturyLink, there was CenturyLink. Why does CenturyLink have a bad reputation? So consumers primarily report concerns around service issues, customer service, billing issues, and sales issues. People were alleging their service speed is inconsistent or slower than what they signed up for, and outages are not repaired in a timely manner. So it just had a bad reputation, CenturyLink. Why is CenturyLink so bad? Often a poor connection can be fixed by restarting your modem or router. This clears the memory and resets the connection. Rebooting also gives you the best Wi-Fi signal by allowing the modem to select a channel with the least interference. Well, that's kind of a. I want to see some stories about CenturyLink. CenturyLink. Does anybody know about CenturyLink? Because I know they had a bad reputation. I'm not exactly sure if it's just like a slow modem. I get it. If you're not providing a good product to your customers, they're gonna switch over to a better provider. But I don't know if there was like some like shady stuff going on with CenturyLink, like cooking the books. I'm not sure if that was the case. I thought something like bad like that happened with the company. Maybe not. Maybe it was just their products weren't good. They have a boatload of debt. They do have a boatload of debt, a ton of debt. So within a month, they partnered with Google, AWS, and Meta to help those companies improve their connectivity and data and speed. This is probably not as significant, but the state of New Mexico to connect their schools, all their K through 12 schools, the elementary, middle, and high school. So the New Mexico Office of Broadband Access and Expansion selected Lumen to provide nearly 900 miles of high-speed fiber connectivity to its public school system around the whole state, including charter and tribal schools. Lumen provides the latest and greatest high-speed, low-latency fiber optic wave technology. Is Lumen a buyout candidate? See, Pradek hit the nail on the head. This is like a great candidate for acquisition. It's really, really good because it's come down so much. 10 billion is a drop in the bucket for the bigger companies. Well, let me open my. Who are the bigger? AT&T, Verizon, Comcast. I'm doing Tesla now, so I don't have the chart for okay, it's fine. So yeah, it's a great candidate to acquisition target. All MNOs are looking to buy fiber companies. That's the thing. Like if you want to compete, with the bigger companies in your industry, the quickest way, the fastest route to competing with the big guys is to acquire a company. You can't acquire a bigger company, so you have to acquire a smaller company. So if you're a $100 million company, you acquire a $10 million company. If you're a $1 billion company, you acquire a $100 million company. And if you're a $10 billion company, you acquire a $1 billion company. That's just the name of the game because it's hard to grow organically. It just takes so long. And actually it's not even possible for some companies to grow organically. Like if you're a railroad, you can't just build track any way you want, right? And it takes a long time to build track, even if you do get approval. So some companies just, it's impossible to grow organically. You have to acquire in order to grow. Because laying down hundreds of miles of cables, could you imagine how much money that costs? And you can't just do it. You have to get all the approvals first, and you might not get approvals. So it's kind of interesting, but I don't think it's too late. Because when I remember doing videos on Lumen since I started my channel in 2020. So I remember when I was looking at in 2020, it was trading around $15. Maybe it came down to like 9 or 10, but it was trading for 3 straight years between 10 and 15. And they were always paying a big dividend until, of course, they wiped out the dividend. They were always paying like 7, 8, 9, 10%. It got up to like 12, 13, 14%. So I thought, and I was saying, like, this looks like a great buy because you're getting year after year, they're paying a big dividend. Then they cut their dividend at this point. It was in mid 2022. And then it just crashed the stock. Because I guess when you eliminate your dividend, it gives the impression that you might be going out of business if you can't afford to pay the dividend. So AT&T and T-Mobile, Verizon is striking deals with Frontier. Yeah, there's a lot of big companies. You know, Comcast. There's of course, the 2 big ones, AT&T and T-Mobile. But there's a lot of big companies that are looking to expand and grow their network. This is a great candidate. I remember when it was double digits for a while, and then when it started coming down, I was looking at it and I was like, that looks so attractive when it was $4 or $5. But I didn't bite, even when it was $1. Because the fear is you buy something for $1, and obviously the fear is it goes down. But another, like, almost as bad is it's just flat for years and years and years. So you kind of just sit in there. You look at your portfolio. One day you're up 1%. The next day you're down 1% on your entire investment. After a while, after like so many years, you would eventually get rid of it because you want to make money on a stock, not just be flat. So it went from, it fell to around 2 in mid 2023. So between mid 2023 and mid 2024, 1 year, it didn't move. It didn't move at all. So unless you picked it up right here, like, you would just be sitting on it for month after month after month of not going anywhere. But this is the real rocket ship since July. But how would we have identified that? And even if I told you I know it's going to hit $10, and after a year, you probably would just lose faith in my prediction. But we don't have to wait to after the fact. Even at this point, let's see the news articles. This is right after they started creeping up. Oh, that's in New Mexico. That's a schools, New Mexico. Now we gotta go back to the screen because so let's look at these 3 dots. This is when it was trading pretty close to $1. Duplicate. Okay. Lumen. Okay, it's just they announced an impairment. They were passing through huge impairments because they have so many billions of dollars of like wireless and wired infrastructure, and they've been writing a lot of it down. So let's look at this one. Lumen and Corning reach supply agreement on next generation fiber optic cable to support data center AI. So they, not as big as a name, but when you reach when you work with any company, this is a 50 billion market cap company, Corning, so not a small company. So that was one indication, right when it was pretty low, like around at $2. So we could have got it then at $2. How would we have known that? Yeah, I don't know. But even when it was trading at $1, Microsoft, at the time, they were the biggest company in the world. Microsoft and Lumen partner to power the future of AI. This is the best indicator. When it was still trading at $1, we could have gotten it. How much would, I mean, obviously, if we go back, we would put our life savings into it. If you had 10,000, you could have turned that 10,000 to 100,000. If you had 100,000, you could have turned that to $1 million. But let's just say you're $100,000. How much would you have put into it? I'm sure you wouldn't have put even 10,000 because it seems risky. Maybe a couple thousand. But a lot of companies are doing deals like this because there's just so much demand. And when you have a big company, you can't rely on one supplier. Like, I'm not going to have multiple companies give me wireless services in my house. It's not that important. Like, I have Comcast. If Comcast goes down, I don't also pay for AT&T. I'm not going to pay two companies. It's not like the end of the world if I spend a few hours. It's annoying. But if you have a big business, then you have multiple companies you're working with, because if one of them goes down, you can just hop onto the other one. But here's the indicator right here. Lumen and Microsoft announced a new partnership that will use Microsoft Cloud to further drive Lumen's digital transformation. Microsoft has chosen Lumen to expand its network to meet the growing demand on its data centers due to AI. Data centers have become critical infrastructure that power the compute capabilities of the millions of people. So if Microsoft is trusting this company, we should trust this company. So we could have made, even if you didn't time it well, even if you got it after the first surge and you got it at like $5, you're still up 90% in 3 months. And if it goes to $20, $30, $40, then you'd be up like 200-300% in under a year. So you'd be pretty happy. This talks about the dividend. Lumen announced it appointing Chad Ho, blah, blah. Oh, that's not the dividend. Oh, that's a management change. Okay. Let's see this circle. Lumen received $73 million contract from the U.S. government. So the contract from the U.S. government was to help them improve their network data, voice, and video connectivity. So this is well before the surge. This is when it was still trading a little over $1. Here's other. I don't know what this is. That's nothing. So they just did release their third quarter. So Lumen reported results for the third quarter. Revenue $3.2 billion. Net loss each year. But nobody cares about this. Nobody cares that the revenue has gone down and they have a net loss. The reason people are buying the stock is because of these partnerships with Lumen announces early tender of exchange offers for unsecured notes. The early results of its offer to exchange newly issued secured notes. The reason debt is a big concern with this company. The reason it's less of a concern is because when a stock price goes up, like this went up a lot. It went up from $1 to $10. Now they could issue more stock because it's better for a company to issue stock when a stock price is really high because they have to issue less shares. What happened? I'll show you what I mean. I mean, it's the same reason you buy stock too. You rather buy it when it's low. So if a company needed $1 million, I know that's not a lot of money, but let's just say they needed $1 million. And the share price is $1. So how many shares do they have to issue? Obviously, it's pretty simple math. 1 million shares. And let's just say its current shares is 1 million. So the new amount of shares outstanding is 2 million. You just doubled the number of shares outstanding. Everybody would be pissed off at you because now your shares are worth half the price they were before. But let's just say they held off. They didn't want to sell any stock because it was so low the price, and they waited for the stock to go to $10. So if the stock was $10, how many shares do they have to issue to get 1 million? 100,000 shares. And if there was 1 million before the issuance, now the number of shares went from 1 million to 1.1 million. A lot better than doubling the number of shares. So the higher the stock price, the more attractive it is for the company to issue stock. The lower the stock price, the more attractive it is for the company to buy back stock. The same thing with you. When a stock price is low, you should be more interested in buying it. And when a stock price is high, you should be more interested in selling your shares. Actually, I have to go to Stretch Lab. I have a 1 o'clock appointment. But this is exciting stuff, Lumen. I think there is definitely potential for it to get back up to $40, $50 a share. But I'm not sure if it's a great long-term hold. Like, I don't know if it's going to do great 2, 3, 4 years out. But in the short term, I think there's a good opportunity for us to make easy 50, 60, 70%, possibly 100%. Because I could see it with these news stories. I could easily see it getting back up to 20 because it was over 50 at its peak. That was a long time ago, almost 10 years ago. It was 50. So it was a while ago. But it was 20 in 2018, which wasn't too far back. Okay, well, I got to go to the Stretch Lab. Okay, I'll try to stream later. Thanks for watching.